Where the devil are we? I'm Matt, and we're back with more things that are out of place, mysteries on the proof is out there. I think I got that right. Let's take a look.
It's August 1987 in the town of Romford in East London, UK. A local resident is filling a hole in his yard when suddenly his shovel hits something hard and metallic. In this photo, you can see the strange...
It's a 1980s boogosphere. That's what it used to be like back in the day.
12-sided hollow
Before they became round spherical objects with really janky hieroglyphs.
Object that's about the size of a tennis ball. Each side has a pentagonal face with a circular hole in the middle, and in each corner is a small rounded knob. Writer Eric Grundhauser says other mysterious devices like this were first discovered in the early 1700s, and they've been baffling people ever since.
What you're looking at in this image is one of the most unexplained mysteries of the ancient world.
Is it not some sort of toy? Like a rudimentary toy, and the knobs are so that it actually rolls and then lands on a specific side? Because if you think about having those knobs, it allows it, like little spherical balls on the ends of it, allows you to roll it a little bit more naturally, and whatever side it lands on top. So I think it's some sort of ancient game.
Even though we found over 100 of them across Europe, no one is still clear on what exactly they are.
They're known as dodecahedrons because of their 12-sided shape, but no one knows exactly how or why they were made. Grundhauser says some suspect the ancients may have used them for communing with the spiritual world.
One of the theories surrounding these dodecahedrons is that they were used as divining tools by augurs or seers, some kind of die or rolling of the bones.
So perhaps these devices were used to predict the future. They have 12 faces that could correspond with the 12 celestial signs of the zodiac,
Possible. Does line up, having 12.
creating a sort of horoscope.
Or months, maybe. Months of the year.
Perhaps they were related to the first century mystery religion known as Mithraism. This was a secretive cult centered on the god Mithras that drew heavily upon astrological symbolism. A similar connection to the star constellations was proposed by one of the greatest philosophers of all time.
Plato had this idea of these shapes that were the ideal shapes of the universe. The dodecahedron was meant to represent the heavens, that the dodecahedron was itself a mirror of the shape of the universe.
I suppose our misconception about the shape of the universe is some sort of almost like an elliptical shape, with the universe expanding out. But I suppose we only got the observable universe, and we don't really know what the shape of the universe actually is.
And what makes these objects even more enigmatic is that though they've been found throughout Europe, they're all precisely forged out of metal with the exact same design, though in a variety of small sizes. There's no mention of them in any written records.
We don't know who created these dodecahedrons or how they were even created, but it doesn't look like it would have been easy given.
Maybe a gambling tool. You know, like you're gambling on something and you gamble on a number. It's a bit same with dice, you know. Is it craps? Where you put your bet on, you throw it, and whatever two numbers come out, there it is. You've got these things with 12 sides, and maybe you're gambling on a side, and it could just be a rudimentary die, basically. The dice.
Ancient technology.
These mysterious contraptions have been uncovered in ancient military camps, temples, and even public baths. So in addition to a fortune-telling tool or religious totem, some have speculated they could be weapons, money, or even just a game. But after centuries of study, we're still no closer to the truth. So let's see if our experts can divine what this is.
But he's basically saying, we still don't know what these things are. Nobody's really understood where they came from originally. And then all of a sudden, his experts are going to tell them what it is.
Anthropologist Kathy Strain explores whether the bronze object could have some religious or spiritual purpose, perhaps related to Mithraism, which was seen as an early rival to Christianity in the Roman Empire.
Mithraism was a star cult. When you think about a star that is multifaceted, multi-edged, maybe this is something that could represent a star. It could be something that you kept in order to practice your religious action.
Is there any evidence to back that up?
Strain reiterates that what complicates this theory is that these objects haven't just been found in temples and other religious sites.
Knowing that they have been found in bathhouses, they've been found in Roman camps, we can't use that as evidence to say that this is a religious object.
Archaeology.
I think it's some sort of betting tool, just like a die. You basically bet on the outcome and then you roll it. And the reason why you've got those nubs on each end is because it makes it easier to roll.
Dr. Ed Barnhart says these objects have sometimes been uncovered among caches of coins. Then perhaps this dodecahedron could be some form of money?
It's very large, impractical for a currency. There aren't any identifiable and repeating symbols. If an organized civilization is going to make a currency, it's got the bust of a...
Imagine pulling that out of your pocket. Yeah, that'll be 15 dodecahedrons, please. Oh, Jesus Christ, I've got to lump all these around with me. Definitely not a currency.
Roman...
Now, if they've been found with currency, maybe it's because it's some sort of gambling device. I'm pinning my hopes on that.
Emperor...
I think it's a gambling device.
or something on it.
So it may not be a type of coin, but perhaps it still had a valuable purpose.
I think that it's a survey object. I think that the balls on every corner let it securely attach to basically a tripod. The locations where we find these objects are fairly neatly where the Roman Empire expanded itself by building Roman roads. If you look through the hole on one side, whatever the other side you're looking through is a different diameter hole. Which means they are very functional in terms of judging both distance and size of things out in front of you.
Possibly. Very possible. Maybe.
The dodecahedron has 6 angles of view, and so if you know the size of an object, you can calculate how far away it is. By looking at the object through the device at a point where the 2 opposite circular holes are superimposed, you can determine the distance by plugging factors like the diameter of each hole, the distance...
Now, that would be useful in warfare where you've got a range for basically your bow and arrows. So before you say loose with an enemy marching, you've got to know what the range is, and that would be really useful. Is it practical? Probably not. Like, middle of a war? I don't know.
between the 2 holes and the height of the object into a simple geometric equation. Our verdict? We're going to go with Barnhart on this one and say this was likely a surveying tool.
It's possible, I suppose.
The need to be secured on a tripod would explain why the device has these seemingly extraneous knobs. But remember, there is nothing about these dodecahedra in the written records, and no molds for making them have ever been found.
So surely you're going to go with, we don't know then. Rather than, we think it's a surveying tool because that's a plausible explanation.
So
it's a gambling tool.
we'll likely never know for sure. It's late October 2007 in Hong Kong. A company called Gear Factor is filming what appears to be a groundbreaking demonstration. As the camera rolls in the parking lot of a typical residential neighborhood, the front axle of a silver Vauxhall sedan slowly lifts off the ground. The rear axle soon follows, and suddenly the car is hovering in midair over the parking lot. You can hear what sounds like an engine whirring, but the only propellers appear to be tiny and attached to the doors.
That's because it's a balloon It's a balloon filled with helium.
After a short 1-minute flight, it comes back down to rest on the ground. The company posted video online, and the internet goes wild at the...
Is there anybody out there who's watching that now thinks that's a real car? and they've turned it into a drone with those propellers on it.
Prospect of a flying car. Journalist Eric Grundhauser says the flying car has long been the unicorn of automotive engineering.
I mean, we could do flying cars. I mean, I think it's already been done, right? I saw a demonstration of a car that basically had wings that folded up like that and then folded down, and then it actually flew. And the controls turned into where you could do a rudder and aileron sort of controls, but I can't imagine that you'd have a motorway filled with these things, like Back to the Future 2. Absolutely not.
Since the early 20th century, there have been a number
Automated, maybe, eventually, one day.
of potential flying car technologies that have been promised to roll out to the general public. In the 60s was a car that the government was almost going to roll out. Even in 2006, a company was promising to release a flying car.
Arguably, the first flying car prototype, called the Avro car, was designed nearly 50 years ago as a secret military project during the Cold War. Resembling a flying saucer, it would have taken off and landed vertically before it was ultimately scrapped. Yet Grundhauser says there are various potential models for how flying cars could work in real-world scenarios.
Yeah, I think Dubai are trialing basically passenger drones where you can get into a drone on top of a building and then fly over somewhere and then land and get out. And it's like a 15-minute flight from maybe Abu Dhabi to, well, probably more than 15 minutes. It's about an hour drive, so maybe about 20 minutes between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Yeah, it took me an hour. I drove that before, and I can't remember how long it took me. But I think they're piloting it, and I think one of the concepts was that you can basically drive your car, and then it'll attach the drone elements to the car, lift up, fly somewhere, put you down. The drone bit detaches and flies off, and then you sort of drive your car into a parking garage. And I thought a proof of concept looked amazing. Is it in reality? I think if it can be reality, Dubai will make it happen. So maybe in the next 5-10 years.
If you look at something like a helicopter, you could simply take off vertically, like technology known as eVTOL, which stands for electric takeoff and landing. This technology would allow vehicles to be much more maneuverable.
We see the propellers on the side of the box hull. So is that what's giving the car its lift?
No.
Helicopters use rotor blades that accelerate the air that passes over the top as they spin to create lift. But these are complex flying machines that require hundreds of hours of practice to master. So have we finally cracked the code for a car everyone can learn to drive and
No.
also fly?
No.
Let's let the experts take the wheel. The video seems so unbelievable, we had to pay another visit to Michael Primo.
You can see the glare from the reflection, assuming that it's coming in this direction, and we've got a shadow that is produced. Now, we know that
although the glare is not reflecting off glass because it's not glass.
these shadows can be produced artificially, but to this scale of an object in this type of environment, to manipulate that information would be very difficult, especially when this car begins to spin. I would say that this is less likely to be something that was artificially produced.
So if the footage isn't digitally manipulated, could this car actually be flying like a plane or a helicopter? Physicist Dr. Matthew Shadagas looks into the science.
Rotors that will give you an upward lift countering the downward force of gravity require large enough blades that produce enough moving air to produce enough force to counteract the force of gravity.
So me dizzy, that.
So Shadagas crunches the numbers on the required force for this car to go airborne.
The force of gravity on this car is equal to mass times the acceleration of gravity. That would be a lot of pounds of force that you would need to counteract gravity. And these puny little blades are just not going to make it possible.
I'm glad we had a physicist to explain that that's not realistic in terms of those little fans making a car float. It's a balloon. I guarantee you it's a balloon.
So if a heavy car model like this can't really fly with those little propellers, then is it actually a real car at all?
This doesn't seem to be a natural reflection. In fact, you sometimes see what look like bumpiness on the reflection. You don't have bumpiness on glass, but you do have bumpiness on a balloon.
We tracked down Gear Factor's owner, German entrepreneur Murti Ung, and he confirms that his flying car is in fact a high-tech balloon.
I mean, it looks good, don't get me wrong. It looks really good.
We are producing flying objects, flying solutions for shows and events. I never had the intention to fool anybody. It was basically doing some marketing with something exciting.
Yeah, I think I was at, was it in Glasgow? It might have been in Glasgow, watching Muse live. And when they were doing the set for when the album Drones dropped, and basically it's like they had a massive drone flying around over everyone's heads, with the song like "Here Comes the Drones," and it's a massive drone flying around, and you could see the little propellers as it's moving across. And it was brilliant, fantastic. So I can see, yeah, he's right. There's a purpose for this in marketing, big shows like that, and events. Absolutely.
Our verdict, this is a promotional flying balloon that looks remarkably like a real car. It's part of a staged event run by Murti's company, which is known for its innovative flying concepts. So sure, you could say the age of the flying car has arrived, but this one's too flimsy to transport anything but helium. It's February 2022 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The Museum of Osteology, also known as the Bones Museum, makes a post about one of its newest artifacts, and the photo of it has the comment section going wild.
First comment on there. I bet if you test that metal, it's not from this planet, even though the skull obviously is. I've seen some like these in Mexico City. Headache? I bet like, that'll give me a headache.
The image shows an elongated skull with a strange metal implant embedded inside it. The skull found in Peru appears to be human, but the odd stretched out shape of the bulbous cranial bones could suggest otherwise. The implant itself is coarse and bumpy and is clearly not an organic part of the skeleton. It appears to be composed of two parts, an eye-like shape on top and a circle at the bottom. Forensic anthropologist Dr. John Verano, who studies prehistoric skulls like this
I didn't see an eye-like shape. I just saw a hunk of metal.
For a living, was stumped when he first saw this image.
I've never seen anything like this. I looked at it and I said, well, doesn't look genuine to me.
Though this
I mean, you can see where there's obvious cracking, like near where it's been implanted. It almost like you've got a skull, we've found a skull, now we want to embed this bit of metal onto the skull. And it looks like in the process of embedding it, it's actually cracked the skull in. So I don't think that was done while it was live. I think that was done after, where it was just a skull and they basically put the metal on the skull. God, I'm an anthropologist, the way I explain that.
This implant is rare, perhaps unique. Author Heidi Hollis says there's a long history of elongated skulls in Peru.
For us to be able to find elongated skulls, that's not the rare element here. Finding an elongated skull with a metal plate in it, now that takes the cake.
Peruvian archaeologist Julio Teo discovered
Looks like Jim's dad from American Pie.
hundreds of elongated cone-shaped skulls buried in the Paracas region in the late 1920s. And Hollis notes that their surprising appearance makes some wonder if they could have extraterrestrial origins.
In pop culture, we often do see aliens as being portrayed as having an elongated skull. From the popular Aliens movies to the gray aliens witnessed by people said to be abducted by alien beings.
Recent genetic testing of the Peruvian skulls apparently found they had mitochondrial DNA with mutations unknown to any human or animal on Earth. And the metal in the...
Really? That's interesting. I do like things like that because it's science. It's not theoretical. It's based on scientific fact. I do love anything that's a mystery grounded in science.
Skull adds another bizarre dimension.
It's highly unusual to see such perfection done on something so ancient. How and who did this?
We often associate metallic objects with electronics, so maybe this skull implant is some sort of microchip, or in this case, macrochip, for aliens to communicate with their home planet. We know people microchip their pets.
I mean, if you're an alien and you're communicating with another planet, can you not think of a better way than embedding a massive hunk of metal in your own skull?
To help locate them when they go missing. In the case of dogs and cats, a device the size of a grain of rice is implanted just under the skin, over the shoulder blades. Could this cranial implant actually track aliens? Does it reveal other ancient secrets? Or is this just one big hoax taking us all for a wild ride? Let's ask the experts.
Hoax. I think it was done after the fact.
We turn first to anthropologist Kath.
Or maybe not hoax, but, you know, decorative more than something that was a function while someone was alive.
Strain to disentangle fact from fiction.
There have been a lot of known hoaxes in archaeology, in particular with Peruvian skulls, crystal skulls that were found all over the world that were said to have been made by alien technology.
And then they made a Indiana Jones film based on crystal skulls, which was god-awful. But I suppose given enough time, it was a masterpiece compared to the latest Indiana Jones film.
Those were fakes. We know that they were cut.
It turned him into a bitter, inept old man. Crimes against classics.
By a jeweler's equipment. And so it's always possible that something can be hoaxed.
But Strange says there's reason to believe the skull is authentic.
We can.
I think the skull's authentic. I'm not saying that. I think the skull is authentic, but whether it was, you know, whether that person was alive when that metal was in there.
See every element of what a human skull looks like. That is not easy to hoax because bone is bone. We can also date this using radiocarbon. And so that would tell us for certain that it is 2,000 years old.
So since the skull seems to be real, could it actually belong to an ancient alien who visited Earth from another planet? Archaeologist Dr. Ed Barnhart says that though we associate elongated skulls with aliens, there's historical evidence that they are in fact human.
I know, and they used to do that to themselves. I think wrapping the skull really, really tightly. I can't imagine why. I know that they had reasons why, but people for you.
What we call cranial deformation. And that means that probably when this individual was very young, boards were strapped to the skull so that it would elongate and change the shape of the skull. It was very prevalent in South America, where this skull is believed to have come from.
I just can't imagine putting any child through that.
Barnhart says it was generally people of elite status from Andean cultures like the Baracas who underwent this practice. Yet we know some people who claim they've been abducted by aliens who say they had metal devices
Funny nipple placement there.
Implanted into their bodies. So maybe these are actually alien implants into human abductees who've undergone skull elongation. Or is it possible these South Americans were able to also carry out other complex skull modifications like this?
We have found other skulls that have what we call trepidation and repairs to them. Trepidation is the practice of drilling or removing bone from a head that has undergone trauma. We know we still use this today. Roy from Siegfried and Roy, after he was attacked by the tiger, had to have this done because his brain swelled.
Strange says a recent amazing discovery in Peru in late 2021 may...
If you keep tigers, you run the risk. They belong in the wild for a reason.
solve the riddle. These are obsidian surgical tools found in what's believed to be a doctor's grave. Strange says this proves ancient South Americans actually had the know-how to perform this dangerous procedure. Yet even though trepanation is a recognized ancient practice, John Verano still isn't convinced this implant is authentic since he's never seen metal like this from that time.
If this skull with its metal implant is genuine, and if it really reflects surgery and implant, of course it would be a significant historic discovery, but given that it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen in metallurgy in the Andes, that's why I have my doubts.
So while John leans toward this being a hoax, there's plenty of other evidence to suggest this is the 2,000-year-old skull of a human who survived.
I mean, the skull, like I said, was genuine. And over time, it could have been decorative by adding in the metal.
The life-threatening surgery.
Get to your experts, come on.
Our verdict? This skull is most likely an example of ancient trepanation. But until the skull is radiocarbon dated to confirm its age, concluding with absolute certainty that this artifact is authentic would be getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh, God. We have to write some of these down. Proper dad jokes, aren't they? I don't know. You just basically say it's a skull with metal on it. Doesn't mean it was done back in the day and it's trepanation.
December 2020. It's another beautiful day on the Southern California coast.
Beautiful.
In the sky above the Palos Verdes Peninsula in Los Angeles, a local flight instructor is giving a lesson when suddenly she and her student encounter something or someone in the airspace off their port side. As we zoom in slow-mo, we see what looks like a man wearing a jetpack flying at an altitude of about 3,000 feet, roughly 20 miles off the coast. Now look close. You can see what appears to be legs dangling below a torso. And look right over here, a reflection of something metallic, like a backpack.
If someone showed me that, I'd say it looks like a bloke in a jetpack. I would.
But the strangest thing of all, there's no sign of exhaust.
The jetpacks that are
Well, to be fair, there's no sign of exhaust from a distance. Because, I mean, you look at that, it's only because it's close up that you can see anything.
out there use kerosene, and they have literally multiple turbo engines attached to them. But even still, the sustained flight on those is 10 minutes max. It doesn't seem like he's close to coming down anytime soon, which says to me, he's maybe working with something special here.
Or it's an alien. No, I'm joking. Could be a balloon. Could be a balloon.
There are other people who have invented jetpacks that involved engines on their arms. This doesn't seem to be the case here. He doesn't seem to have any kind of complicated equipment or anything
You can't really tell though, can you?
really bulky.
Rumors of a similar flying figure have been swirling around Los Angeles for months before this sighting.
So this guy in a jetpack had been spotted before, a couple of times actually, by pilots who were coming in for landings at LAX. But this was the first time he had been captured on video.
The latest sighting was in August 2021. What's going on?
There are a couple of theories around this that really interest me. One is that it could be some kind of secret military technology that's being tested.
I mean, it looks busy airspace and you're going to be captured on film. Is that really the best place to be doing tests? Do you need to be doing tests during the day? Because I'm assuming that you could do tests just as easily during the night. And with no lights on you, who's going to see you? Absolutely nobody.
The other
And you could be wearing night vision goggles, so you can still see everything that's going on, but someone from the ground will not see you at all.
is the idea that this is the work of an amateur backyard inventor who's just not ready to reveal himself yet.
But I imagine you don't want the FAA up your ass or getting your project shut down. So I imagine there's inventors out there that are doing things at the moment and just want to keep it quiet.
This is far from the first time a flying human has shocked spectators. In 2007, a gas station owner named Kit Couch famously floated across Oregon using a chair and 105 balloons. But are these new sightings really someone on a jetpack? Our experts are cleared for takeoff. First, could these sightings just be weather balloons which have become deflated and misshapen into a humanoid-looking profile? And
Given there's multiple sightings, maybe doubt it.
caught in strong crosswinds.
The only way that they travel at that velocity sideways is if the winds are really, really, really high.
Well, maybe it looks like it's travelling that direction because it's relative to the airplane going in that direction. So who knows how fast it's doing, really.
When Dr. Hentz checks the winds over Palos Verdes that day,
If you look at the winds in this lower part of the atmosphere, all of these winds, all the way up to about 3,000 meters, are about 10 knots or weaker. So this was a very, very calm condition.
could this instead be a powered drone tricked out to look like a person? Our aviation expert Tim McMillan thinks not.
We can rule out a conventional drone pretty easily because we don't see the quadcopters, the commercial drones of that nature, or even most of your military or industrial drones. You're going to see wings or you're going to see rotors. We don't see any of that.
Despite the appearance of a human form, astrophysicist Hakeem Oluseyi isn't ready to confirm this is a genuine Jetpack Man or woman.
The physics of getting to this location just does not favor a jetpack.
There's a ship down there. There's a ship down there, which means he could have launched from that ship.
Because they're at a high altitude and they're also very far away from shore.
There's a ship down there.
The jetpack has to carry the fuel on board, and it has to fight against Earth's gravity pulling on the human being and still have enough fuel to travel horizontally.
A New Zealand company called Martin Aircraft did unveil a prototype in 2016 that is reportedly capable of flying close to the same 3,000 feet altitude as this person. Their model weighs over 440 pounds without fuel or a pilot, but appears to use significantly more equipment than what has been spotted over LA. Despite that, Oluseyi can't rule out a jetpack.
Pilots have reported seeing this.
Pilots have reported seeing it. There's been, I think, multiple videos of something similar, which look like a person just going across the sky. Is it all just a guy in a jetpack? Or is it balloons to make it look like somebody flying around on a jetpack? But then how do you keep a balloon perfectly in the right position?
So maybe there is something there.
End of the day, it's a UFO.
So, this is a tough one. We were going to say drone, but McMillan has us doubting that. So for now, we're going to say this is a human using a yet unknown technology. But we still don't know for sure, and neither does the FBI.
I can imagine, right, if you were an inventor and you thought, Christ, I've made something spectacular here, but I need to test it. I need to be careful about testing it because I don't want the FBI all over me. I don't want anyone getting wind of the technology to take it away or to steal any ideas. So I'm going to go and test it and be careful. But then you go and test it throughout the day where you can be filmed by light aircraft or people from the ground. Doesn't track. I think if you're going to make a technology that you're testing and it's that secret, you would test it at night where no one can see you. I know there's a risk there, but then if you can test a technology that, like a jetpack at 3,000 feet, you can wear night vision goggles as well at the same time. So who knows? Who knows? But if it's a balloon as well, how do you keep a balloon perfectly looking in one? Because if you've got a balloon that's long, it goes on every axis, it tumbles with the wind. There's no way of keeping it perfectly straight like that. So, unless you've weighted it perfectly, possibly. I don't know. Let me know what you think anyway. Do me a favour, like, subscribe, do the rest of it. Or don't do any of that, but thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. You take care. Cheers.